What's up, Ravens flock? The Baltimore Ravens just made it official, and if you're not paying attention right now, you're missing one of the most strategic roster moves of the entire season. Right before this absolutely crucial Week 12 matchup against the New York Jets, a game that could define the trajectory of Baltimore's playoff push, the Ravens front office pulled the trigger on not one, not two, but three critical signings that tell you everything you need to know about where this organization's mindset is right now. These aren't panic moves. These aren't desperation signings. These are calculated strategic reinforcements designed to keep this team hot, keep them physical, and maintain the momentum of what has become one of the most impressive winning streaks in the NFL right now. The timing of these moves is absolutely perfect, and the message they send is crystal clear. The Ravens believe this team can finish the season strong and make a legitimate championship run. After struggling through the first month of the season with defensive breakdowns and inconsistent play, Baltimore has completely transformed into a defensive juggernaut that's suffocating opponents and controlling games. The front office just looked at that momentum and said, "We're not letting off the gas pedal for even 1 second. We're adding reinforcements, we're building depth, and we're making sure nothing derails this train as it barrels toward the playoffs." Before we break down each signing and explain exactly why these moves matter so much for Baltimore's championship aspirations, make sure you smash that like button right now. And if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button because we're building the ultimate Ravens community, and we want you to be part of it. We're on a mission to hit 2,000 subscribers, and with your help, we're going to get there fast. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think of these signings because I want to hear from every single member of Ravens flock. Now let's get into these roster moves because what Baltimore just did is legitimately brilliant when you understand the context and the strategy behind each decision. The Ravens are not messing around anymore, and these three signings prove it beyond any shadow of doubt. Starting with the most impactful addition to the roster, Taven Bryan, the veteran defensive tackle who just got promoted to the 53-man roster full-time. This move was not exactly a surprise to people who have been following the team closely, but it was absolutely the right decision, and it needed to happen now. The Ravens had already exhausted all three of Bryan's standard practice squad elevations, which means if they wanted to use him in any future games, he had to be officially signed to the active roster. There was no way around it, and Baltimore didn't hesitate for even a second. Taven Bryan has earned this promotion through his performance over the past 3 weeks. He's appeared in each of the last 3 games during Baltimore's winning streak, and if you've been watching this defense transform from a liability into a legitimate championship-caliber unit, Bryan has been part of that evolution. The run defense has tightened up dramatically, the pass rush has become more explosive and disruptive, and the interior defensive line rotation has gained the kind of aggressiveness that makes offensive coordinators lose sleep the night before game planning. Over those 3 games where Bryan saw action, he averaged just over 22 snaps per game. Now, that might not sound like massive playing time, but context matters enormously here. He logged a quarterback hit, he disrupted running lanes, and most importantly, he brought an energy and intensity that elevated everyone around him. This isn't just about statistics on a box score. This is about changing the entire tenor and physicality of how the defensive line operates. Don't just take my word for it. Listen to what head coach John Harbaugh said during his press conference when asked about Bryan's contributions. Harbaugh stated, and this is a direct quote, "He's played well in all 3 games he's been out there for. He brings a lot of energy. He's a fast-twitch defensive lineman. I think he's really been a blessing for us." When John Harbaugh, a coach who chooses his words carefully and doesn't throw around praise casually, calls a player a blessing for the organization, that tells you everything you need to know. That's a head coach recognizing that a player has bought into the system completely, is elevating the unit around him, and is contributing winning football. The timing of this signing becomes even more critical when you consider who the Ravens are facing this week. The New York Jets want to establish the run game. They want to protect their quarterback situation, which has been in flux all season. and they want to control the line of scrimmage and dictate tempo. Having Taven Bryan available for a full complement of snaps gives defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald another chess piece to deploy, another body to rotate through to keep fresh legs on the field, and another physical presence to clog running lanes and collapse the pocket. This signing could not have come at a better time given the specific matchup. Part of the urgency behind these roster moves came from an injury to Chris Higgins that occurred back in Week 10. Now, Higgins hasn't played a single defensive snap all season, so his absence doesn't impact the defensive side of the ball. But on special teams, this dude has been an absolute dog, and that's not hyperbole. 6 total tackles, including 3 solo stops, 1 forced fumble, and in the game where he unfortunately got injured, Higgins recorded a career-high 2 special teams tackles. That's legitimate production that doesn't just magically replace itself. Special teams might not get the headlines or the primetime highlight packages, but it wins and loses football games every single week. Field position battles, hidden yards, momentum swings, all of that happens on special teams. With Higgins now sidelined for a few weeks, not season-ending thankfully, but definitely out of action for the immediate future, Baltimore had to rebuild that depth and replace that production. And that's precisely why the other 2 reinforcements the Ravens signed are so strategically important. The second signing is rookie inside linebacker Chandler Martin, who just got elevated from the practice squad and is about to make his NFL regular season debut against the Jets. This kid has been flashing potential and production since the preseason, and anyone who watched Baltimore's exhibition games knows exactly who Chandler Martin is. He went undrafted coming out of Memphis, which frankly seems insane when you watch his tape and see the motor, the physicality, and the instincts he consistently displays. Martin just barely missed making the initial 53-man roster when final cuts happened, and honestly, if you paid attention during the preseason, you know he probably deserved a spot. This young linebacker plays with that edge and hunger you absolutely want from players fighting to establish themselves in the league. He doesn't take plays off, he flies around the field, he delivers contact, and he has legitimate special teams value that will be crucial against the Jets. This Ravens versus Jets matchup is going to be decided in large part by field position. Both teams want to control tempo, establish the run, play complementary football, and force the other offense into difficult down and distance situations. Special teams become exponentially more important in these types of games. Having a young, hungry, physically gifted linebacker on all the special teams units gives Baltimore an immediate upgrade in that phase. Chandler Martin is going to step right into that special teams heavy role that Chris Higgins was occupying, and he'll bring that I'm fighting for my NFL career energy that coaches absolutely love. The third and final reinforcement is veteran cornerback Amani Oruwariye, who's getting the call-up and making his Ravens debut this week. Oruwariye was originally signed by Baltimore back on October 1st, so he's had months to learn the defensive scheme, study the playbook, get comfortable with the coaching staff's terminology and expectations, and now he's finally getting his opportunity to contribute on game day. And the timing couldn't be more perfect because the Ravens desperately need him right now. Why the sudden urgency at cornerback? Because Marlon Humphrey, Baltimore's CB1 and one of the best cover corners in the entire league, is out. Humphrey underwent finger surgery earlier this week and was officially ruled out for the Jets game. Losing your number 1 cornerback right before facing an offense that can air it out when they get behind is obviously not ideal. The Ravens had no choice but to add experienced depth to the secondary, and Oruwariye provides exactly that. Amani Oruwariye brings 7 full years of NFL experience to Baltimore's defense. He's a long, physical, technically sound cornerback who understands route concepts, uses his length effectively in press coverage, and has played meaningful snaps for multiple organizations throughout his career. This isn't some street free agent who just learned the playbook last week. This is a veteran presence who knows how to prepare, how to study film, how to execute game plans, and how to compete at the NFL level. He's exactly the type of cornerback you want stepping in when your top cover guy goes down with an injury. Beyond his contributions in the defensive backfield, Oruwariye will also see significant action on special teams, which again helps fill some of that void left by Chris Higgins being sidelined. Baltimore is getting a 2-for-1 value proposition here. Experienced cornerback depth to protect against Marlon Humphrey's absence, plus another quality special teams contributor who can make plays in the kicking game. That's smart roster construction and strategic depth building. So what do these three signings actually mean for the Week 12 matchup against the Jets? Why do these moves matter so much beyond just filling roster spots? Because the Baltimore Ravens are fighting to stay alive and relevant in the AFC playoff race, and games like this one against New York are exactly where depth and roster management win championships. These aren't glamorous, headline-grabbing signings. These aren't the moves that dominate sports talk radio or generate viral social media moments. But these are the smart, gritty, detail-oriented roster decisions that keep your season alive in November and December, when every single game carries massive playoff implications. The New York Jets offense has been wildly inconsistent all season, but they absolutely have talent on that roster. Their offensive identity revolves around controlling the line of scrimmage, establishing the run game to set up play-action passing, and making life easier for their quarterback regardless of who's under center. These three signings directly counter that entire offensive philosophy. A stronger and deeper defensive line rotation disrupts the run game and prevents New York from establishing their preferred tempo. A new special teams impact linebacker helps Baltimore win the hidden yardage battle and maintain favorable field position throughout the game. A veteran cornerback protects the secondary and prevents big plays when Marlon Humphrey's absence might otherwise create vulnerability. The Ravens' defense has been absolutely dominant during this current winning streak, and these moves ensure that dominance continues uninterrupted. Baltimore has allowed fewer than 20 points in 5 consecutive games, after their defense allowed 27 or more points in 4 of their first 5 games. That's not a coincidence. That's not luck. That's systematic improvement and players buying into the scheme. The front office just looked at that improvement and said, we're not letting anything derail this momentum, so we're adding reinforcements to maintain this standard of excellence. Think about where the Ravens were just a few weeks ago compared to where they are right now. Early in the season, this defense was getting absolutely shredded. Opposing offenses were scoring at will, the run defense was getting gashed, the pass rush was non-existent, and the secondary was giving up explosive plays constantly. It looked like Baltimore's Super Bowl window might be closing, and that this season could spiral into disappointment despite having Lamar Jackson playing at an MVP level. But something changed. The coaching staff made adjustments. Players started executing at a higher level. The scheme began clicking. And suddenly, this defense transformed from a liability into a legitimate strength. That transformation has been the primary catalyst for Baltimore's winning streak and their climb back into playoff contention. These three signings are the front office saying, we believe in this transformation, we're investing in this momentum, and we're going to do everything possible to maintain this trajectory. The Jets game represents a perfect opportunity for Baltimore to make a statement and move to 9-3 on the season. New York is struggling. Their quarterback situation remains uncertain with the recent benching and changes. Their offense has been inconsistent all year, and they're coming into a hostile environment in Baltimore where the Ravens have been playing dominant football. This is the type of game championship teams are supposed to win convincingly. These roster moves give Baltimore every advantage to do exactly that. Let's talk about the bigger picture implications beyond just this one game. If the Ravens win against the Jets and improve to 9-3, suddenly everything is back on the table for this franchise. They're right back in the thick of the AFC playoff race, potentially competing for a division title and positioning themselves for a legitimate postseason run. The AFC is absolutely wide open this season with no truly dominant team separating themselves from the pack. Baltimore has the talent, the coaching, the quarterback, and now the momentum to make a deep playoff push if they can maintain this level of play. These three signings demonstrate that the front office shares that belief and is willing to make the necessary moves to support it. General Manager Eric DaCosta has always been aggressive and creative with roster management, constantly churning the bottom of the roster, looking for competitive advantages and depth improvements. These moves are quintessential DaCosta, identifying needs, finding available players who fit those needs, and pulling the trigger without hesitation. That's how you build sustainable winning organizations in the NFL. The special teams emphasis in these signings also can't be overstated. 2 of the 3 players brought in will make immediate impacts on special teams, which tells you how much the coaching staff values that phase of the game. John Harbaugh came up as a special teams coordinator before becoming a head coach, and that background influences how he constructs rosters and evaluates players. He understands that special teams can be the difference between winning and losing, especially in close games between evenly matched teams. Against the Jets, special teams could absolutely be the deciding factor. If Baltimore can win the field position battle through effective punt and kickoff coverage, force New York to drive the length of the field consistently, and flip field position through returns or coverage stops, that creates a massive advantage for their offense and defense. Chandler Martin and Amani Oruwariye, both contributing on special teams, gives the Ravens additional playmakers in that phase who can create those game-changing moments. The Taven Bryan signing also reflects something important about Baltimore's defensive philosophy and how they want to play moving forward. By adding another body to the defensive line rotation, they can keep everyone fresher throughout games, rotate more aggressively, and maintain physicality and intensity for 4 full quarters. Defensive line play is all about maintaining gap integrity, winning leverage battles, and sustaining effort for 60 minutes. The more quality depth you have to rotate through, the better you can execute that philosophy. Watch how Mike McDonald deploys his defensive line against the Jets. You'll see frequent rotations, fresh bodies constantly entering the game, and a commitment to wearing down New York's offensive line through sheer physicality and relentless effort. Taven Bryan is now a full participant in that rotation, rather than being limited by practice squad elevation rules. That matters enormously for how aggressively the coaching staff can deploy him. The Ravens are also getting healthier at other positions, which combined with these new signings creates a roster that's deeper and more talented than at any point this season. Getting key contributors back from injury, while simultaneously adding new pieces through smart roster management, is how teams peak at exactly the right time heading into December and the playoffs. Baltimore is positioning itself to be playing its best football when it matters most. Think about the message these signings send to the locker room as well. When players see the front office actively working to improve the roster and bring in reinforcements, it tells them that management believes in this team and is committed to winning. That creates buy-in, elevates effort, and builds championship culture. Players want to know that ownership and management are as committed to winning as they are. These moves demonstrate that commitment tangibly. For young players like Chandler Martin, getting called up to the active roster for your NFL debut is a dream come true and validates all the hard work and sacrifice that goes into reaching the professional level. Martin has been grinding on the practice squad, staying ready, working his tail off despite not being on the 53-man roster, and now he's getting his shot. That's an incredible opportunity, and you can bet he's going to make the absolute most of it against the Jets. The veteran presence that both Taven Bryan and Amani Oruwariye bring cannot be underestimated either. Having players who have been in big games, who understand the preparation required, who know how to handle the speed and intensity of NFL Sundays, that experience is invaluable. They can mentor younger players, provide leadership in position rooms, and execute at a high level immediately because they've done it before. That's why teams value veterans even for depth roles. As we look ahead to the Jets matchup and the remainder of Baltimore's schedule, these signings could end up being viewed as the moves that saved the season and propelled the Ravens into the playoffs. Sometimes it's not about the splashy blockbuster trades or the massive free agent signings. Sometimes it's about the smart, under-the-radar roster moves that add depth, address specific needs, and give your team the competitive advantages required to win close games. That's exactly what Baltimore just did. The Ravens' schedule after the Jets includes critical division games, matchups against playoff contenders, and opportunities to build momentum heading into January. Having a deep, talented, healthy roster becomes exponentially more important as the season progresses and the cumulative toll of an NFL season starts affecting everyone. These three additions give Baltimore the depth to withstand injuries, the talent to maintain their high level of play, and the special teams contributors to win games in all three phases. If you're a Ravens fan, you have every reason to be excited about where this team is heading and what these signings represent. The front office is all in on this season. The coaching staff has the defense playing at an elite level. Lamar Jackson is having another MVP caliber season, and the roster is getting deeper and more talented. All the ingredients are there for a special finish to this season. Ravens flock, I want to hear from every single one of you. What do you think about these three signings? Do you believe Taven Bryan can make an immediate impact on the defensive line? Are you excited to see Chandler Martin make his NFL debut on special teams? Can Amani Oruwariye fill in adequately with Marlon Humphrey sidelined? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I'm reading and responding to as many as I can. Let's get a conversation going about where this team is headed. And listen, if you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay updated on every Ravens move, every game analysis, every piece of news coming out of Baltimore, you absolutely need to subscribe to this channel right now. Smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and join the ultimate Ravens community we're building. We're so close to hitting 2,000 subscribers, and with your help, we're going to crush that goal. Every like, every comment, every share helps us grow this community. This is your boy Victor with Ravens News Today, and as always, go Ravens. Let's get this win against the Jets, move to 9-3, and show the entire AFC that Baltimore is coming for everything this season. The reinforcements have arrived, the defense is dominant, and this team is just getting started. Stay locked in, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.